We have the sane members here, so like nobody sings when we start.
Yeah, this is crazy. It's
like
it's very mild.
I'm one of the singers though.
It was a very mild start, guys.
I mean, I love a musical.
I know. You see, somehow the world will change for me and be so wonderful.
So, anyway, this is going to be the story of where in the world is Velrissa and Taxi.
A whole new world.
So while
a shining place I never knew. No one to tell us no. Sorry, Vel. You were saying?
Somebody get their man.
whose man is this? Anyway, so while the Vangalores and Mountain were busy burgling, Velrissa and Taxi set off to meet with Velrissa's uncle in Vexen, now that he was finally back on the mainland. It's been, I want to say it's been like, not super long.
Not been long.
Probably like...
I've never met him.
Wait, no, fuck off. Since you went to port, probably like 2 weeks before that. So it's been canonically like...
A few months?
Not even that, probably like a month. Because like we haven't been like, even though it's felt like it's been years, D&D time it's been like maybe like a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
It hasn't been super long. It's been like probably like a month and a half, I'd say, counting the ship travel, like a month and a half, going on 2 months since you was last seeing your uncle.
Okay, I think that puts it more into perspective, because I was thinking like it's been 100 fucking years or something.
Yeah, no, it's been like about 2 months.
Velrissa's a MILF?
Dude, bro,
where'd that come from?
100 years old?
Oh, no.
We started the recording 2.5 minutes ago and you're already horny?
I've been horny for 2 weeks.
I've been horny for so fucking long.
I've been waiting for this session for so long.
The way this horse is bumping. It just, all you hear is fucking, it just like, Where we left off with your guys' story, you had just passed through a small tribe-like village of panda folk. You spoke with a few of them, learned of their knowledges, their beliefs. They're very different nature from what you're used to, I'd say. Very, not that they're not civilized, but they have a very different outlook on life and the things that they have been surrounded by, the nature, the people, just life itself, it seems. But you went to their gathering, their festival for the moonfish, as they were passing through the river for a close change in season, actually, as the season is about to change soon. It's getting pretty close to fall. We are currently in the month of Sunlim, is the name of the month. It is the last month of the summer season in this world, and it's approaching the fall. With that being said, you guys slept for the night there. You said your goodbyes to the panda folk, who were very humble and very kind to you as travelers and as strangers even. You hopped back on your horse and you continued on the path. You're getting very close to Vexen now. You're entering the boundary in which Vexen is in. Vexen's a little further ways up to your northeast. So travel continues for the rest of this day, approaching the nightfall. You guys finally begin to ride into Vexen. You guys are probably pretty hungry, pretty tired, just generally worn out from the travel.
We're never hungry with Taxi's great grapes.
I would suggest you probably are making great grapes, yeah, throughout all this, most likely, I would assume.
Give me your grapes.
Nah,
I don't have it prepared, so no.
Okay, well then, yeah, you guys are pretty damn hungry. Even living off of rations for the travel, you probably are still like craving a hot meal or just an actual meal instead of just, dried meats and breads. Riding into town, the first thing you begin to notice as you cross a small bridge. The bridge itself goes over a very thin river, made purely out of cobblestone, with the ends of it having dragon heads that arise from the actual guards on the side of the bridge. There is a single man on horseback who seems to be patrolling up the sides of the bridge, wearing a very fine golden armor with red trimming. As you pass by, he kind of gives you a nod and, wishes you well on your travel. As you cross the rest of the bridge, you follow this cobblestone path up to the city of Vexen. The first thing you notice about this city is there are 3 sanctions to it. There are actually 3 walls. The outer wall, and then as you see as it inclines a bit, there's a second wall, and then a third very small wall encasing the castle on the very top of the spire-like hill in the center of town. As you approach the first checkpoint, which would be the first wall, you pass a few farmlands, and this seems to be the first way into Vexen. There's a very large set of wrought iron / wooden gates. And in front, standing there with a small piece of paper and a inkwell pen, there is a very bizarre creature you've never seen before. While the features of it are bird-like, it is not a kenku nor a aarakocra. The creature has an owl-like face with a very small, about 4'2" body. It's wearing a very simple brown robing that's kept together by ties of hempen rope. It seems a bit dirty, a bit scruffed in the feathers. Its white feathers have a bit of brown dirt stains here and there. But he seems to be standing in the front of the checkpoint, and as people come in, they turn to talk to him, and then continue passing on as he scribbles things on the paper. You step forward. The line's very small into Vexen. There doesn't seem to be a lot of traffic going in and out of the city right now. But as you approach, the small owl creature pipes up to speak to you as you start heading towards the door. You get off horseback at this point as well and just pull it by the reins as you approach.
Oh, welcome. What are you coming to Vexen for?
I'm here to see my uncle. He told me he was going to meet me at one of the local temples here.
Oh, okay, do you know your uncle's name? What's his name?
His name's Ander Greyrock.
Ander, okay.
I'm
yeah,
just accompanying her.
Right, that's all right. He is here. He's over at the cathedral past the second checkpoint. Here,
And he hands you a small slip of white parchment that just has a nice red symbol. It almost looks like a stamp, but it's very weird the way it's etched, and it's a very bizarre sort of blend between cursive and just a very nice fine print writing. But he hands you this small parchment and says,
show this to the people at the second checkpoint and they'll let you in. We typically don't let commoners go too far into the city. The Duke doesn't like him too much. But this should get you through to where you need to go.
Right.
Thank you.
Right. Thank you.
Why, yes. Have a nice day. If you need anything, there are plenty of people around to ask. Just to stay away from back alleys. Here in the first checkpoint, it's not too safe. We've had a bit of an increase in criminal activity recently.
Is the whole city unsafe?
No, not at all. Just this first outer wall here. You see, recently there's been some changes in Parliament. The Duke's been making a lot of changes to the way the taxes and whatnot work, and we've got a bit of a rowdy behavior because of it.
Oh.
Right, so I mean, just stay on the main road, you should be fine. A lot of people here are still very friendly. There's just the occasional bad siege you might run into.
Right.
We'll try to keep to our own.
And how big is this city exactly? You said there's multiple checkpoints.
Right, yeah. It's so here we have the common area. This is just where most people live, in shops, common housing, stuff like that. But on the second checkpoint here, you'll have a more of an elite guard up there. Right outside the castle, there's more cathedral, temples, barracks, more of the upper class householding as well. So we tend to keep that more safe and more sanctioned away from the rest of the rebel.
How exactly do the common folks get into these temples and cathedrals? Are they not allowed in?
It depends on the reason for visit. A lot of them get turned down just to help keep the crime rates lower the closer you get to where the more esteemed civilians are. But it all depends, I'd say.
Like noble.
Yes, a lot of nobles live up there, a lot of the higher ups. Getting past the third checkpoint is going to be an extreme no-go. That's the entrance to the castle, and the Duke does not like visitors.
That's understandable.
Noted. Are there any, is the castle huge?
You can see it just as you were approaching. As I said, there's the outer wall for the first checkpoint. Then you can see above that where the second checkpoint is a bit higher, and then the third one is a very high wall around the center of the town, where the town seems to actually incline upwards a bit, almost like it was built around a hill, and you can see the castle itself jutting from inside that third checkpoint. It seems pretty large and pretty over the top.
So this city is circular, or is it square? Circular?
It's circular, yeah. All the walls are circular. And it seems to all just steadily go up on a very small incline towards the castle in the center, where it's sitting on a hill.
All right. Well, thank you for your help.
Yes, have a good stay.
Yes, thank you very much.
If this is another city with corrupt power, we might want to leave.
I don't think we'll be here for too long.
That's good. Just kind of thinking about the wolf. And how...
So as you
What
step
we-
in, as you step through the first checkpoint, you start to get that familiar resemblance to the wharf at first, especially this outer layer of the city. You can see there's a lot of condemned buildings, boarded up, broken windows. Occasionally you'll see guards exiting buildings, a few of them carrying corpses into wagons. It's not as bad as the wharf was, but you can see where you can definitely tell, like just walking straight through towards the second checkpoint, you can see where just the rise in criminal activity is noticeable to just the public eye. As you pass through, there are a few sideways glances, dirty looks given by some of the commoners. You see people sleeping on the sides of the streets. This occasional shitty people that seem to dip and dodge out of the alleyways and give you dirty eyes and kind of size you up and down as you walk past.
I'll keep my eyes out.
As a man with a passive perception of yours would do.
I'll keep the ears perked and the eyes out, but I will pay no mind to any sort of dirty looks because of our race, if we get those.
Right. So you make your way to the second checkpoint. Here at the second checkpoint, there is an elven man, brown hair, side swept. He looks a bit more elegant. The way he's dressed, he's wearing a very fine clothing with a scabbarded sword on his hip. And he is just sitting there with a small journal, also writing people in. There is a bit of a large line on your way into the second checkpoint. A lot of them seem like commoners, women holding their kids, occasional man. As you are waiting in line to get to it, you see that he turns down nearly all of them. Out of the 16 people that are in front of you in line, 2 of them get into the second checkpoint. The rest are turned down, very, very upset, lots of disgruntled and defeated faces as they turn around and walk past you, going back towards the common area.
Vel,
Yes?
you speak more confidently than me to people who look like that, so I'll let you handle. Hopefully we get in to see
Right.
your uncle.
As you guys finally get up to the line, the elven man, without even glancing up at you, just keeping his eyes down towards the journal. As you walk up, he just goes, "State your business."
I'm here to visit my uncle in one of these local cathedrals. I was given this parchment by the first checkpoint.
And I
He
hand
takes
it, I hand
out
it
of your
over.
hand. He takes it and he goes.
I'm with her.
He kind of observes it, looks at you guys up and down, flicks it a few times just to make sure it's authentic, and then he rips it in half and puts it in his left pocket and goes, "All right, go ahead and go in. You have 3 hours. If you're not back out by then, someone's going to come and find you. Understood?"
Yeah, right. Do you happen to know where Under Grey Rock would be?
He kind of flips back a couple of pages looking for a name. And a Grey Rock is staying at the temple close to the third checkpoint. Shouldn't be hard to see. It's one of the larger buildings around here. My best guess is he'd still be there.
Right. Well, thank you
Yeah.
very much. 3 hours.
I
Right.
motioned to taxi.
All right. So you guys follow along, you pass through the second checkpoint, and immediately walking in, you can see the noticeable difference between this and the first area. Everything is very pristine and well kept. There are lots of very glamorous storefronts, window displays of finely crafted furnitures, herbal medicines, botanists with flowers you've never seen before, these exotic wonders. It seems like a very nice, happy place compared to what you just walked through. It's a bit of a bizarre, different sides of the coin sort of ordeal. As you step through, you follow the directions going towards the castle. You pass by all these different stores, people wearing very glamorous women in large dresses, men wearing very elegant clothing. You pass by them. They all once again give you guys very bizarre looks. These ones almost highly judgmental of your race, what you're wearing, the way you carry yourself as you walk. They seem to just be constantly sizing you. Not in the same way that the people before were, but just in a sense of they don't like the way you look.
Right.
Do you get used to that, though,
Used to what?
as we walk? If you don't notice, never mind.
I feel like I notice, but I don't take it to heart.
Too pure to understand?
Too pure, too wholesome. So you guys continue your way. You make it. The cathedral itself is very large. The walkway, it splits off to circulate a large stone fountain with depictions of all these different deities going around it as the water pours into the lower well of the fountain. To your left and right as well, there's these large gardens going back around the sides of this large cathedral. It almost seems like it's constantly polished, even though it's such a large stone building. The stone itself is all smooth, clean, no moss, no dirt. It looks like people are constantly keeping the entirety of it well kept. But as you walk through, you occasionally pass what look to be mostly monks or just initiates wearing common robings, people praying, sitting at pews or sitting towards small statues, talking to themselves, talking to their friends, or praying. You walk in, and you are first greeted by a panda folk. One of the ones, not the same, of course, the same people that you just saw, but one of the same race. He's talking to a few of the initiates, kind of patting him on the back and smiling at them as they pass by him before his eyes turn to meet yours, and he gives you a very heartwarming smile. He's dressed in a very fine green garment that has golden spirals going around the vest of it, with a single pole arm going against his back, and on both sides of it, he's balancing 2 bottles of liquid that kind of perfectly balance on his shoulder blades. He's not holding it in any way, but it's just perfectly balancing against his shoulder as he walks towards you. He walks forward and he puts his hands together and gives you a small bow. Welcome. What is it that I may help you with?
Hi, I'm supposed to be here to visit my uncle. He's supposedly here.
Oh, and who is your uncle, if I may ask?
And
Me.
What the fuck?
Sorry, I was thinking out loud.
right, his name's Ander Greyrock.
Oh, yes, Ander. Ander is here. He is up on the 3rd floor. He has been talking to some of the local clerics. He should still be there. It's getting quite late into the evening, but I don't think he has retired just yet for the night.
And how do I get to the 3rd floor?
Oh, he turns around and points towards a nearby spiral staircase at the very back of the 1st floor. He goes, if you follow right there, you should easily find the 3rd floor. If you ask around, I'm sure you'll find out where exactly he is.
Alright, well, thank you for your help.
It is not a problem. If you need anything at all, please come talk to me.
Can you tell me about this place? Everything looks sort of familiar.
Oh, well, this temple, this cathedral right here. You see, it's, not one of a particular worship. You see, we, believe in the right to worship whoever you please, as long as you follow the rules of nature and the rules of the laws and the good of people. We believe that all deities deserve to be worshipped for one reason or another, whether it be harvesting, whether it be justice, or whether it be anything really, poetry, song, whatever you wish. This is a very open place to worship who you please.
Do you come from Barfield?
From where?
The place that we just left, the garden
Yeah.
area? It's called Barfield?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah.
Where's that? I've never heard of it.
It's just a place we passed through. There was a lot of people with the same ideals. I didn't know if you knew them.
My people are not very common around this area, but we sadly do not know one another completely. I believe everybody knows somebody, however, in a slight way.
I didn't mean it like that.
No, it's okay. I understand what you mean. We all grew up the same way, so I do believe most of my kind probably have a very open sense of ideals. We all believe very similar things.
Oh, thank you. Maybe I might return tomorrow.
You're welcome here at any time.
Thank you.
He gives you one more small bow.
Yeah, I'll return it. I'll follow Val. I don't want to keep her away.
Yeah, I make my way to that staircase.
So you follow up the staircase, heading up to the 3rd floor. You immediately recognize the voice of your uncle. Even as you're walking up to the 3rd floor, you hear voices billowing from down the hallway into one of the nearby right rooms. You hear him laughing and talking loudly, boasting stories of his younger childhood, and it brings back nostalgic memories that you feel all too well. You remember his stories he'd tell you before you went to bed at night while he was training you to be a cleric, and it gives you a sense of warmth and a sense of remembrance from where you've been, where you've come from.
Okay, I slowly approach the room, but slowly and not quite to where I'm in vision yet. And I sit there and kind of listen to him speak for a little bit before I enter.
You hear the clanking
hiding?
of tankards, and you just hear him. He goes, my boating days are far past me now, but a good sail never hurt anybody, now did it? And you hear some other male go, yes, I've always wanted to see the sea, actually. I've heard it's beautiful. Even when you can't see land, just watching the waves go by in all directions can be mesmerizing, even.
Val, what are we doing?
What? I recognize that voice. That's my uncle in there. I don't know when it's appropriate to enter.
Just go. Your family, right?
I awkwardly, slowly walk through the door.
Okay.
I awkwardly stay far behind.
As you walk in, it seems to be a small dining hall. There are 3 long wooden tables, and on the side of one of the chairs are turned around to meet with 6 or 7 younger-looking males, all of them wearing about the same hairstyle, pulled back into ponytails or just shaven on the sides and keeping the top at a general medium to long length. They all sit cross-legged and they're listening to the stories. And as your eyes pan up, you recognize immediately the larger stature, the thick body-built man. The gray hair raggedly pulled down behind the ears with his golden bright eyes. The scars going down his neck and up to his chin are still all too prevalent. You recognize him a lot. He's had them since his younger days. But he is wearing this large stone armor. Large shoulder plates meet most of the upper body. And you see something, however, that was not what he had before. As you look at his left arm, it's no longer human. You don't see flesh and bone or any sort of skin. You see small pieces of brass rods that are met together at plated joints, and you can see directly through where his forearm would be. A autonomous, almost mechanical-like arm is clutching onto the tankard that he is holding.
Tiefling or?
He's
No,
human.
He's a human.
Which one is your uncle?
I
Which one is your uncle?
is Taxi poking his head through?
He's
I
right
was
behind
watching.
you. Yeah.
No, I was just watching from where I told her to go.
I kind of put my head back.
It's the one with the arm. It's made of, I can't tell.
How tall is this man? You said big. So how big is he?
He seems to be taking up the entirety of the chair. You can even see the back of it behind him. He's not fat or overweight, but he has a very large, just muscular tone to his body.
It's Reinhardt.
Literally, not that tall in the Reinhardt armor. He even though he's sitting, you can guesstimate he probably stands about 6'5", 6'6". He's a very tall, muscular man, but as you start to step into the room, his eyes turn and they immediately meet with yours, Velrissa.
Mm-hmm.
That's a big uncle.
Oh, well, by the gods. You finally came, didn't you?
I just arrived into town, yes.
All the people, they turn their heads on sitting down on the ground. Some of them they seem taken aback for a second when they see you. They see an infernal creature walking in. They see Taxi, the devil. No, but as they seem step back and their faces kind of warp into a grimace or a very just taken aback or almost intimidated look. He raises his hand and goes, "It's all right. Oh, she's a lot more of an angel than she looks."
I kind of look around at everyone and give like a small bow.
He stands up and he walks past him to approach you. He puts his right hand, the one that is still flesh and bone, onto your shoulder. Not a lot of time has passed, but I can see you've changed a lot, Velrissa.
I could say the same about you. What happened to your arm?
Oh, this, and as he raises up and starts moving the fingers, you can almost hear the sounds of like little metal bits just like clanking against each other as the fingers, not in a very bizarre, almost rhythmic pattern, the way they move. It doesn't seem human at all, but he goes, an accident happened on the way here. My ship landed. It was Dock City, kinda to the southeast of here. And on the road to Vexen, I encountered a beast I was not familiar with. I managed to take it out, but it was cunning in a almost unholy way.
And what did this beast look like?
It was black and leathery. The skin was just devoid of all color, but it was smooth like a burnt leather. Its body moved in ways I've never seen before. The way the limbs just seemed boneless and almost like the body was made of tendrils. It was horrific and not holy, not godly in the slightest. Not a natural beast, that's for sure, but I took care of it. It just took me on with it.
Well, I'm glad you're alive.
This old man's not going out that easily.
Well, let's get to it. What did you call me for? You said...
I mostly wanted to hear about your adventure so far.
And,
you know,
and I've had
home,
quite some adventures.
Warforged's missing you. The island is missing you.
I miss being there a lot.
All right, I'll come out. Okay, I'll walk towards. Stick my hand out.
I see you've brought an accomplice with you.
Right, his name's Taxi.
Taxi the Tabaxi.
Right.
Put it there.
He gives you a small handshake in 1 second.
Oh no? Does he crush my hand? I have to make an impression.
So his hand comes out. The gauntlet itself, it envelops your entire hand. It's a bit of not of a handshake and more of just a hand grasp. The way he just completely envelops all the way to the back of your palm. As he shakes your hand, he goes, so tell me, Taxi. And then he pulls you a little closer, and he bends over so his face is getting pretty close to yours. You have to look up a little bit to see him. Not that much, because he's only like a few inches taller than you. But
you ever see the hair on the back of a cat's tail and stuff stand up? That's what happened.
He gets really close and goes, What are your intentions with my niece?
Oh God. I.
Do I hear that?
I only jest. Come.
Oh,
A friend of Velrissa's is a friend of mine.
you really got me there. I gotta sit down for a second. It's good to meet you.
Yes. So, anyway, Velrissa, yes. What have you accomplished? What have you seen? What have you learned? I'd love to hear about your journey so far.
Well, when I left the island, I ended up in a small town, and I ended up hearing a lot about this place called the Great King's Wharf. And so I went there, and there was a lot that happened there. Good and bad and everything in between. I met Taxi as well as 3 others, and we've almost formed a party, and we've been together
He's just staring at his pulsing hand.
we've been together for quite a few,
What would I say, months?
Yeah, probably like a month,
Yeah.
2 months, however long it's been.
and they're not the greatest themselves.
I look at Taxi.
I stand back up.
But they
Well,
definitely mean no harm, and they have definitely brought us in a good direction. I mean, I ended up here, so
Right. I trust you to keep good company. You've always had a smart head on that shoulders of yours. I think I raised you well. Sorry, the hounds are back.
Somebody release the hounds, please. They're being quite noisy.
Fucking portals opened like demonic hounds just rise from the ground. They're back again.
Let me despawn them.
I don't think we would be alive if it wasn't for Vel.
She's quite a wonder, isn't she?
I kind of
Yeah.
get a little embarrassed.
And he kind of looks down and starts staring into his drink a little bit as he speaks. Back when I first adopted you from your mother and father, you understand they didn't want you because of the way you looked, and while I don't blame my brother for that, I certainly think if he was to look back at it and see what you've grown into, he'd realize that you weren't born to be evil just by the way you looked. You have a gift. You're a prodigy when it comes to just helping others and being a good person.
no, I didn't. My birth parents, I don't even have anything against them. I understand where they come from, and I can't hate someone for that.
I haven't talked to your father in quite some time. I'm sure he's doing well. They have a much mundane life compared to ours. But
And do you
when I saw you, what? Go ahead.
do you know my siblings? I have 2 of them.
Yes, your sister and your brother are doing quite well. Your sister, I never really told you because it was something I didn't really felt was necessary to bring up, but it's a part of your life and it's a part of your bloodline. So your sister was born with a slight problem. Not like yours. She wasn't born with horns and scaly skin, but she can use her legs all too well.
Oh, I understand.
It's been rather hard for your father to cope with this. Your brother, is doing quite well. He's taken after his father, and he's been learning the fishing life himself, but your sister, there's not a lot of good modern medicine in that area, and they're not sure what they can do for her or how long they can still hold on to her for.
Sorry to push my boundaries, Vel. We've only we've only been together for a short time, so we don't know each other that well, other than almost dying together. But can your family not heal the way you do?
My family aren't tieflings like I am. They are human.
And they're not like I either. Her birth parents are very against the beliefs of magic in a whole, even gifts from the gods like what I and Velrissa here carry. I asked my brother when he first sent me a letter about his daughter's issues with walking and the issues in the bones of her legs. I told him that he could bring her to the island. We could heal her with the gifts of God, the blessings that we have, and he refused. After his wife gave birth to, and he kind of just nods his head towards Velrissa, they started to get a fear and almost a hatred towards magic. They believed that her birth was due to spellcasting and magic in general. And because of that, they refused to seek any sort of guidance or any aid that isn't natural. I tried talking to him. It's sort of the reason why I stopped talking to him. I tried hard to get him to understand that not all magic is bad. There are gifts. There are wonderful spellcasters out there who only care to help others and help the progression of life, and he refuses to believe it. He called me cursed, and he didn't want to speak to me anymore. He said we're all just foolish for thinking the gods even care about us.
And your sister, Vel, she is close to dying because they refuse to seek help.
That is correct, yes.
I'll let you two. Sorry.
Anyway, enough about that. I want to hear about you, Vel. You are an astounding person, and I want to hear more about what you've known, what you've done since your departure from the island.
Well, at this Great King's Wharf, we were tasked by the king of this area to stop the forces of this evil man who led a cult, a very evil cult. And that's kind of what we did for a while. We tracked this man and all of his accomplices, and I was able to help a lot of people on the way. I led a few spirits and things of that matters, and we ended up finding where this cult lies, like this big underground area where they worshipped and everything, and we ended up defeating the leader of the cult, and the whole underground area completely flooded and it was eliminated. So we almost entirely wiped out this cult.
That's good news.
And I received a gift from Ouija, and she was very proud of my... I hold out my lantern.
Oh, that is a beauty indeed. You are gifted. To speak to Ouijas is, a rare encounter for sure, and certainly one to show how blessed you are. You are a vessel for her. You have your own mind, and you have your own ideals, but you carry goodness and guidance through her, and I'm sure she sees that. If it wasn't for the gods, we would merely have a very limited purpose. They lead us on a right path, and I can see that your path is filled with a blinding light of adventure and of vigor. I'm proud of you, Velrissa.
Thank you very much.
She's pretty great, huh? I don't want to ask too much, Vel.
Go ahead.
what was your name? Velrissa's uncle.
Ander. My name is Ander. Ander Greyrock.
And, Vel grew up with you.
That is correct. I've raised her since she was a child. I taught her the ways of holy patronage and how to heal and guide those into the afterlife. This is my job. This is my path of life, my walk of life.
I feel like I should apologize.
For what?
Well, I think everyone has a few, they have a path that they are meant to walk on. But there are so many times since Vel met me that I put her life in danger, and a lot of times where I felt like maybe I shouldn't, or at least we shouldn't have kept her around.
Stop right there, Cat. He lifts up his hand and he points at you. How close are you to Velrissa? How much does she mean to you?
I look over at Vel. From this point, a lot. There's a lot of things about Vel that I wish I had. I wish I was like. You know, there's not a lot of people who are kind enough and composed and completely selfless. And, you know, it's easy to feel safe and like a better person around you, Vel.
Would you die for my niece? Would you risk her life, your life for hers?
This is a little, I just, you know,
if she was in danger, would you risk your life to save her?
Well, of course I would. Any of the friends that I've, or just the people that our group that was formed in the war, coincidentally, because of, I mean, they helped me, and then I'm in their debt. So of course.
Then you have no reason to apologize. You have not put her life in danger. You've made her life better. You've given her the life she has. The reason she is still here and breathing today is not because her life has been risked, but because she is on her correct path. If it was her time to die, then she would have died. You give her the adventuring spirit I've always seen in her eyes. Do not apologize for living.
Yes. Don't laugh about it.
So you're just like, yes.
I want you to do something for me, Tabaxi.
It's just Taxi.
Taxi. Don't apologize for walking forward. You have a path ahead of you, and you walk it. You take those steps, and you never be sorry for a single one of them. You live the best damn life that you can. And then he points to Velrissa, and you make sure that she has the best damn life possible as well. And you will never have a reason to be sorry. Life is dangerous, but that is why it's worth living. Anything in this life worth doing will be hard and will be risky. Never apologize for facing it head on.
Thank you. You remind me of somebody with that strong will. I've never had that, but since I've met Vel and these people, I start to feel it more.
Well, you will.
Sorry. I sort of took us off topic. I'll back up a little bit.
There's no reason for it. Hey, everything is fine.
Yeah.
Let's relax and celebrate. I'm glad you both made it. Let's have some drinks. Let's relax. and let's talk more in the morning. It's getting quite late. I'm sure you're both exhausted from your adventure so far.
Right, we're quite exhausted.
Come now, let's slumber. Have a drink, relax your mind, calm the soul. There's plenty to catch up on and plenty to talk about. I have quite a few more stories to tell you, Velrissa.
Right, I look forward to them quite a bit.
And with that, you guys retire for the night, sleeping quite well after a long, long travel to get here. But the road ahead is still ever winding, and there's no clear end to it yet, so that's where we're going to end this little session.